Good morning, YouTube. What a wonderful day this is today in Texas. This is just a wonderful day for all of y'all politicians that like to sling mud at one another. And it's a wonderful day for me because I enjoy hearing it. And so I'm just going to sit back here and listen to all of y'all throwing mud at each other. And then after you get through with all of it and we start picking up the fallout, well, then I'll give you the real propositions which we need to concentrate on. But I I have I've been so grateful when I think about the precedent that President Obama has set when he did all of these executive orders. Because I mean, I've always wanted to write a bunch of executive orders to help the country, and he set such a wonderful precedent for me in case I ever win the lottery and are able to pay for enough exposure to have a chance of getting there. I'll have my executive orders all written out ahead of time so I can just move right in there and put them into play the first day. But I've got a number of very good executive orders, and since I've got the precedent to do that, well, I mean, it won't take me long just to really straighten out the country, because I won't have to go to Congress. I won't have to go to the country, deal with the public or anything. I'll just go to my Oval Office, as Obama has set the precedent, and I'll just start writing out all this stuff and signing my name to it, and pretty soon, well, I'll just have the country running my way. But it sounds simple, but I know it won't be that simple. But anyway, I'm just going just for the practice and the fun of it. I've got probably 200 or 300 executive orders here, but I'm going to go through a few of them and see, because I can't just put them out here. I'll have to try to explain them a little as I go along. Of course, that'll take time up and everything, and so there's a limited amount that I can really put out here. I may have to try to type them up and put them out on a website, or type them up and in detail and run them across the screen or something like that, where those that are interested can download it and read it later, or something to that effect. It'd be difficult to go through all the executive orders, because I can write pretty fast, and I mean, I can go through the whole country pretty fast, every state and city and everything, and write an executive order about how I'd like to see more parks put in and more libraries put in, and everything else like that I'd like to have happen. I don't have to deal with the mayors of the city or the congressman or have to talk to anybody. I'll just write an executive order out and it'll all be done. And so, because that's what, and all I got to do, if anybody argues with it, I just say, well, that's the precedent that Obama has set. But anyway, I'm going to try to think of those that everybody would like to have, and so that maybe they would go along with it, and maybe it would work out. But at least, I got to make the proposal. Otherwise, nobody will know what I am planning to do as I begin to sign these executive orders and bring them down upon everybody's head. The way Obama does, and just like it or lump it. I'm going to shove it. I'm just going to shove it all down. And of course I gave you on that other video about why you don't want me to be president. I gave you about 6 executive orders that I was going to. It's sort of those were sort of like a joke. These others will be a little bit more serious. But yeah, now the first executive order, of course, we're going to have Obama, go through a Marine boot camp and get everything straight, so he knows how to salute when he gets on Air Force One, or on Marine One, and doesn't have to come back down the steps of Marine One and apologize to the Marine, and so that he knows how to contact proper military protocol. And we're going to send him through Marine boot camp, and so that he'll learn how to appreciate the military and understand what they're there for and all that kind of thing. It's sad that we didn't we don't put our presidents through something before they get in office, and so that they know what they're doing as a commander in chief, instead of just getting in there and trying to guess what they're to try to develop respect for the military after they get there, when they didn't have anyone when we elected them. Okay, so but then number 2 was that we're going to get Congress out. anytime Congress is in session was they're going to all be out running 2 miles with me every morning, and then they're going to have to do it when they're back in their home district. They'll have to do it as a track somewhere there, and get somebody to sign it for them that they've done it. And so we're going to get everybody in good physical shape. That's the main idea of that. Whatever it takes to get everybody in good physical shape, especially our congressmen that have to run our country, are responsible for running our country. We got to have a lot of respect for our congressmen, just like we do our president. So we got to have them in good physical shape. So that they can, they won't have to argue around so much about stuff, and they'll be able to pass their bills quicker and get along with one another a whole lot better if they run this 2 miles, and get their brain working a little bit, instead of just going in there, sitting down there and drinking a cup of coffee and not even really awake, and don't get awake until noon. You go in there and you sit around, you don't get awake till noon. Well, how are you gonna get any work done like that? And so they need to learn from the Marines that get more done before 7 a.m. The rest of us do all day. And so we're going to get them out and get them exercising early in the day so that they can get this done. They can get a lot done during the day. And then the next one was going to be that we're going to do something about these emails. We're going to change the name. I'm going to give it such a difficult name nobody will be able to pronounce it, and so they won't want to use emails anymore. And and then I was going to. We're going to do away with prejudice in the country. We're going to change that word to prejudgeitis, and everybody's going to have to pronounce it that way because they're going to have to really think about it. It's going to have to be pre with 4 or 5 e's on it, so that they know that they can understand and it can go through their mind that what they're doing is they're prejudging. They're judging beforehand, and that it is judging. And that the Bible says, judge not, that you be not judged. And so if we're going to judge, we need to judge at least after we know something about somebody, and we've met them, and we've learned about their character, and we've spent time with them, either lived with them or spent time with them for a while, and we really know what the person is all about. We don't prejudge. We don't get to. We're going to learn how to get over this disease called prejudgeitis. And then number 5, I'm going to have consequences for racial slurs, and I gave you some humorous things I was going to do to stop that. I won't go back through all that. It was kind of crazy. And then that turns out to be 5, executive order number 5, and then we're going to go to executive number 6. And this is going to be about education. And of course, there's going to be a whole lot of I'm going to have a whole lot of executive orders about education, because that's just my area, and I'm just so concerned about that. And they think Bernie Sanders is concerned about that, but he's not near as concerned about that as I am. But we don't have to use that type of program that he's going to. That'd be counterproductive. There's no need to have a absolutely free tuition to everybody. Just say, well, anybody wants to go to college or university, just just go ahead and go up there and just sit in the class, and whether you're motivated to learn anything or not, and it's all going to be paid for by the government. That's not a practical program, but we're going to make sure that everybody that wants to get their education. And what we really need to know about all this is that everybody that really wants to get their education can get it. We've already got these things all in place. See, this is what Bernie Sanders either doesn't know or is not bringing out, is that we have things in place to pay for people's education that can't afford it. We already have all this in place. We've got to, and what my executive order is going to be is just to increase the funding on what we already have in place, and to provide more scholarships for people that need it, and a more multiple that covers a wide array of people and types of situations. I'm going to go through with a fine-tooth comb every situation that a student can be in, and every situation that justifies scholarships. Then we're going to have those scholarships set aside for that, and we're going to go through every means of developing that, from getting the private sector to donate into the scholarships to everything else, which college presidents is already doing a lot of this. Our wonderful college presidents are already doing a lot of this, and this is what it's not being brought up, is that we're already doing a lot of this. But I'm going to write executive orders that's going to cause a lot more of this to be done. And then we're going to have all kinds of ways and means and tests of determining who needs help with getting through their college, getting their college education, and who doesn't. And we're going to, there's not going to be anybody that's going to be left out. The poor people will be able to afford to go to college and get a good education just like anybody else will. And I am fully aware that of the fact that there are certain degree programs and courses that and means to getting to a job and so forth that about all it amounts to is show up in class and then study just a little bit on the side and you can go ahead and you get your degree and everything with no problem, and so you have time to get out and work a part-time job very easily, 4 hours a day, a part-time job. But then there's other career programs, and I know what every one of them is. Nobody's gonna fool me about that. I know which ones require the study and which ones that don't, and exactly how many hours they study. It's not any course degree program I'm not familiar with, and so I realize full well that there are these degree programs that require so much out of classroom study that there's no way, no feasible way that you're going to work 4 hours a day and still come out with the type of, at least with any kind of grades, point average or anything. You may, even if you can barely slide by. And so we're going to work with all those kinds of things. And so education is going to be in good hands. It's not going to be anything that's going to be in better hands than education, because we got to have education in this country in order to compete with the other countries and to make to keep our country great. Our country is great, but we got to keep it great, and we've got to become a whole lot more competitive. And we've got to go through everything from our science programs to our math programs to every other kind of program that's in the universities and make sure that they're all competitive. And so I'm going to have to take a whole bunch of tapes on that, because that just is very extensive. And so, but anyway, that's going to be the first executive order, is there's going to be a lot more, or first 500 maybe, that there's going to be a whole lot more financial aid and a whole lot more scholarships and things like that. Okay, and then the second one's going to be the inner cities, the second group. I guess I should start calling these groups of executive orders. Obama has set the precedent that you can write as many as you want. So I'm going to just group these into groups of executive orders, and then I'm going to take all the time I need to write hundreds of them under that group heading. So, but the second important group of executive orders, I mean, I'm just going to have fun with these executive orders since the precedent's been made, is the inner cities. And that's always been a concern of me for years and years. And so, I mean, I've got your back on that. We've had a lot of people come out here as of late during these presidential races and express a concern that they want a president that will handle the inner city situation and will do something about the poverty in the inner cities and the gang warfare and all these kinds of things. Well, I got your back on that, of course, because I've been studying that for years, and that's always been a concern of mine. And one of the executive orders that I'm going to write is there's going to be federal funding for people who actually have the desire to get out of the inner city and move out into the smaller areas, and I'm going to set up a program that will resettle them, that they'll be able to have the funds to, you're not going to just be a giveaway program, but they'll have the funds to get out and establish themselves for a few months and have the travel expenses to get out of the city. And I'll have to go into all that. I mean, that's quite detailed as how all that's going to work. But believe me, I got it all in hand. At the risk of sounding like Donald Trump, I've got it all in hand, but I do. And so, at any rate, the next group will be on immigration, and immigration is something that I've been working on that situation since before immigration was even an issue. So I speak Spanish, and I've been working with the Hispanics and all like that since before the immigration was even an issue, and so that's not going to be any problem either. We're going to work with the Mexican president, and with all the cities, mayors of the Mexican cities, and with the mayors of the cities along the border. We're going to work with all these areas on that. I've got that already underhand. Okay, so let's go to the next video.